Hi everyone, very good evening. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Alpa Sharma. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to everyone. Good evening, Preeti, Rakhi, Preeti Gupta too. How are you guys today? If you could quickly confirm that I'm clearly audible and visible, we shall start with our second class in the series of toughest English and CR questions that we have seen in the history of law entrance exams. Good evening, Aditi, Ashmita. Hi everyone. Can you hear and see me clearly? Quickly confirm that. Good evening, Sandra, Nanshi, Krishna. All right. So I think I'm clearly audible and visible to everyone. Yes, Ashmita, thank you for confirming. So all of those people who hadn't seen my first video in the series that I brought to you, the toughest questions in the history of law entrance examinations in English and CR, make sure you watch that. Today marks the second class in the series. And in today's session, I brought some CR questions. I brought one RC. I brought some vocab questions as well. Vocab that's going to blow your mind. But then we need to solve the toughest questions, okay? So that's why the class is here. How many of you are excited for the questions today? First, tell me that, and that's when I'll start proceeding with the class. How many of you are excited with the questions? The kind of questions that I brought? Let's see how well you can perform in these questions that I call as the toughest questions. Good evening, everyone who just now joined me. How many of you are very excited for this session? Yes? Okay, so Malia is, so is Hariom. Even I'm very excited. And you know, it fills my heart with so much passion to hunt for questions that would pose a challenge to you, that would pose a challenge to your preparation. We need to know how hard we need to work if something of this sort comes in the examination. So that's the whole agenda of the class that we're going to be continuing with. Next week, I'll be bringing 2 more classes of such sort, hunting for questions, starting 1988. Not 2008, but 1988 when NLS took its first paper. Ever since NLS, NALSA, WBNUJ started off with its papers, and I'm bringing questions from those sources. So, but before I show you the first passage that I brought today, this is the list of our achievers of CLAT 2022. Have a look at them, and I'm sure you could be one of them with the right guidance. So, I am sure you're eager to see yourself here. Even I am. Now, ready with the first passage, everyone? The first passage that I brought is from CLAT 2011. Let me tell you a little bit of background about CLAT 2011. CLAT 2011 was one of those years where the paper was created by WBNUJS, that is West Bengal National University of Judicial Studies. This university was infamous for creating tough English and maths questions. Since I'm no maths expert, I haven't brought maths questions, but I brought one RC. This was the first year also, a surprising fact. This was the very first year where English was full of only and only RCs and nothing else. After that, the trend changed for quite some time, but then again, they went back to giving us RCs, which is the newest pattern. So if you still haven't solved this paper, solve one RC with me. And then after that, I would expect you to solve the remaining RCs of CLAT 2011's paper as well. So here, which NLU will conduct 22? Himanshu. So now onwards, the consortium creates the paper. And there's no specific NLU. I had been hunting about 2023, but no specific NLU is going to create the paper. The consortium is going to outsource the creation of paper. So ultimately, that's the answer to your question. Here is your first passage. 2.5 pages. This is your first page. Read the page and send me a done. All the very best. Fancy, right? I'm sure you're going to love reading this. Changing the slide, everyone. Second page. Changing the slide. All right, so this is it. Let's have a look at the first question. Here is your first question from the passage that we just read. Question number 1. Which of the following statements can be inferred? Can be inferred from the passage above. All the best. Think, Prachi. I'll explain everything towards the end. What's your answer? B. Okay, Sakshi. Everyone says B. That's very good because the correct answer is a B. So PC Mahalanobis believed in empowering private entrepreneurs? No, he believed in the opposite. He believed in suppressing the free market. Restrictions of free market enriched the large Indian companies? No, they were in a bad state. They were in a conundrum. They were never profitable. They were not even allowed to flourish. Philip Spratt opposed the devaluation of rupee. He had nothing to say about the devaluation of rupee. He certainly had something to say about the privatization of the economy, but he had nothing to say about the valuation or devaluation of rupee in 1966. So D is also wrong. Only and only B can be inferred from the passage. B is your correct answer. Very good. Question number 2. Which of the following is least likely to be inferred? That is, which cannot be inferred from the passage. Here you go with the second question. Exactly, C is contradictory. What's your answer for question number 2? Cannot be inferred. Hi, Sita. Okay, Iram. Others? C. C. D. Okay. All right. Just a minute. Am I audible now, guys? Am I audible now? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I think now I'm audible. Okay, yeah. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm so sorry. My daughter just barged in. I had to send her away. Now let's understand something. Who was A.D. Shroff? What did A.D. Shroff do in the passage? A.D. Shroff was somebody who wanted to promote the privatization of our economy, who wanted for the government to act towards its indifference. He complained, why is the government not privatizing the economy? Right? So ultimately, I'll repeat what I was trying to say. Acceptance of A.D. Shroff's plans in the official circles smothered the free enterprise. Smothering means killing. He rather, one, his plans were not accepted. Two, even if they were, the plans were for promoting the free enterprise and not killing the free enterprise. A cannot be inferred from the passage. A is the correct answer to this question. Okay, so everything else is written in the passage as a fact. A is the correct answer here. Question number 3, here you go. The central idea of the passage. Exactly. Question number 3. Central idea. Be careful. The words are tricky. The options are close. Let me see how many of you have got the main idea here. Okay. Now, let me confuse you a little, okay? There's a conclusion that's drawn towards the end. And the conclusion is finally the 1996 devaluation where Congress had split up. Is that why the whole passage has been written? Shreya, you know my answer. The answer is always a bigger picture. Remember, if you haven't watched my main idea classes, make sure you do that. If you've watched, you will get this answer correct in one go. One option that encompasses the gist of the entire passage, that covers up every aspect of the passage and not just one, is going to be your correct answer. The correct answer is not D. There is a conclusion that's drawn towards the end that 1966 is when the money, the rupee, was devalued, and that's when the government realized, okay, privatization is necessary here. But then, is that why the whole passage was written? The whole passage was more of a storytelling, highlighting who were people who wanted privatization, who were people who were opposing privatization. Which option encompasses that? Let's check B. Explain the politics behind Indira Gandhi's decision to nationalize the banks. The story is not about nationalizing banks. It's about nationalizing or privatizing the entire economy of my country. Too narrow an option. B. C and A. Let's choose. Demonstrate with the help of statistics how the preference of policymakers of Soviet-style economic policies prevented India's economic growth. But then, this certainly happened in the passage. It prevented our country's growth till 1966 when the valuation of rupee fell down. But then, why is Shroff mentioned as a proponent? Other people were also mentioned who were proponents of free economy. So the whole story is like a storytelling. These were people supporting privatization. These were people opposing. Ultimately, this is what happened. A encompasses everything from the passage. A is our correct answer. This, my children. Are you convinced now? The correct answer is an A. That was not a conclusion that 1966 the value of rupees devalued. No, that was not a conclusion. I only tried to confuse you. Question number 4. Philip Spratt came to India because he, if you remember the data, yes, there is Pragya, a lot of it. Okay, factual question. You could have referred back to the passage for this one. What's your answer? A, because he fell in love. C, because he was ordered the editorship. D, because he was instructed. If you remember, Philip Spratt was sent to jail. Why was he sent to the jail? He read a lot of books there. He married an Indian woman. He established My India. That happened later on. But why was he sent to the jail? He was sent to the jail because he was instructed. He was like a spy whose job was to incite a revolution in the country which would give birth to privatization in our country. D is our correct answer. No, Shreya, he came first, but then not with the aim of creating My India. He came with an agenda. The agenda was D. After D happened, he went to the jail. After that, he created My India. That's the sequence of events. The correct answer is D. Question number 5. The author avers that A.D. Shroff's ideas were somewhat at odds with the views of Planning Commission. Of course, we know. But why is the answer? I think I've already answered this question. I should not have discussed it before. I'll discuss why not be in the previous passage. I'll go back again. Let's do this one first. I'll discuss that. Let's answer this first. Hi Satyapratap, I've been good. How have you been? I'll go back to B. First answer this. I've already discussed this answer. Shroff was one of those people who had pointed out that Indian government is pretty hostile towards privatization. If you wanted to be an entrepreneur, you would be seen as if somebody who opposes the country, as a traitor. So the government was pretty hostile towards private entrepreneurs, and he wanted to complain about that. The first line of the passage states that. The correct answer is a C here. Yeah, unanimously C. Everyone says C. D says Shroff had been critical of the influence. See, Shroff had been critical of the government for not allowing privatization. See, there are two sides of the coin. One, I believe in privatization. The government doesn't believe in that. Okay. Shroff was against the government for not allowing entrepreneurs. That does not mean he was against the Soviet academicians. He may be in favor of that, but he was against the rigidity the government had. So this is a very close option. I hope you were able to eliminate this. Let's go back to the previous question. Some people were confused with B. Spratt came to India because he wanted to protest against the economic policies. He was a spy. Let me show you the lines. Okay, so here it is. He was writing a series of essays in favor of free enterprise. Simply writing essays. Why would he do that? He was a communist who was sent by the party to start a revolution in the country. He was a spy. Mysteriously, he was sent into our country only merely to simply write essays, to stir something in the mind of people. Let's go back to the question. Okay. So, B says he wanted to protest. No, he was not protesting. He was simply writing essays so that people could read it and realize what are we missing? We're missing privatization. We're missing entrepreneurship. That's why B is wrong. I hope you got this, everyone. No, not at all, Pragya. The name A.D. Shroff, the name Philip Spratt, all of this is data. And if you need to confirm, you could go back to the passage. All right. Question number 5 is done. Question number 6. The ideological shift of Philip Spratt to the right was caused by, why did he move to the right? I hope you know what right and left is. I'm not going to explain that to you now. I've given you a background of Philip Pratt. A, C, B, all of the answers. Did I tell you these are the most difficult questions we've seen in the history of law entrance exams? The correct answer is a C. He was sent to the jail for writing essays. In the jail, he read books and his mindset changed. He came out, established My India, married an Indian woman. The correct answer is clearly a C, actually written in the passage. Question number 7. Here you go. What can be inferred from the passage? Good luck. What can be inferred from the passage? A, A, D, C, all of the answers. Forum for Free Enterprise, Philip Pratt was not a member of that. A is wrong. A cannot be inferred. B says the first 2 5-year plans emphasized on the importance of private enterprise. No, rather not. The shift was slow. We have no information about the first 5-year plans. Too much to infer. The correct answer is a D. D can be inferred from the passage that says the hopes that licensing regime would be liberalized after the devaluation of Indian rupee were belied in the aftermath of the split of the Congress party. Let's go back and see the last line. Read this one and you would get your answer. Read this line again, everybody. It's a D. Correct. Okay, A is wrong. So after Congress split, they saw, here is the question, they saw that after the licensing regime, they believed that liberalization would happen. It was actually an untrue one after the splitting happened. D is the correct answer. Question number 8. The author alludes to nationalization of industries in 1969 in order to, why does he promote the idea? Very good, Prachi. I'm very proud of you. Why did the author appreciate or allude to or hint to the nationalization of industries in 1969? What did he want to hint at? This is a tricky one. A, all right, others? A, everyone says A and C and B. Let me take you back to the passage. 1969. Let's see what happened. Start reading this part. But from the time when their ideas were revived, after the rupee was devalued in 1966, there was some move towards freeing the trade regime because they knew the valuation of rupee is falling down. The hopes that licensing system would also be liberalized. There was a hope about that. But when Indira Gandhi split the Congress party in 69, her government took a left turn from the right, leading to nationalizing a fresh range of industries and returning to a form of government that's free economy. Let's come back to the question and see what our correct answer could be. Would you like to change your answer? Sanjana, only once. That's the whole point. And that's what makes this passage a difficult one. What's your correct answer now? It is a B. Exactly. Yes. A lot of you marked B. The correct answer is B. It wanted to highlight the shift of the Indira Gandhi-led Congress moving from right to left. Correct answer is a B. Question number 9. Simple. Neither Phillips Pratt nor, now this is not the trickiest question of all, but it was there in the passage, so I had to bring it for you. Neither Phillips Pratt nor A.D. Schroff dash able to convince Mahalanobis. You can't do that, Himanshu. A, because it was factually written, Ria. Guys, what are you doing? You can't mark an A here. We've been teaching you grammar for so long. No, it's going to be was. Remember the subject and verb agreement rule. In neither and nor, we always look at the last subject and take its verb form. A.D. Schroff is singular. It has to be singular only, either was or is. But then, since we're talking about past tense, it has to be was only. Guys, remember something. Grammar in this form can come back into CLAT. Please don't be somebody in the position of regretting. These are simple rules. You can do it in a jiffy. And the last question for this passage, I'll revise the rule for you. In neither and nor, either and or, not only and but also. When you have such pairs in the exam, always look at the last subject and take its verb form. A.D. Schroff is singular. We have to take only and only a singular verb form. The correct answer is was. Last question. The synonym to inveig in the passage. What does that mean? Not always, Mohit. It could be plural as well. What is the synonym to inveig? See? See? Ah. The correct answer is a D. It's a D. Inveig, in a sense, means to protest, show your anger, show your hostility towards something. Inveig is a D. Okay? Yeah. All right. Alifia, you could watch a recorded session for that, my child. The correct answer is a D. That is all for the passage today. But that is all for the class? No, it isn't. I've brought more questions. But before I show you the next question, did you hit the like button? Do you want more such classes? I'm sure you would. You need to do me some favor for that. Hit the like button, share the video with your friends if you haven't done that yet, and subscribe to our channel. Okay, appeared in WBNUG's 2007 paper. You have to tell me what weakens the author's argument. I'll give you 1 minute for this. Good luck. Very tricky. Let me see who gets it. That's really good, Shreya and Rakhi. B, C. You know the worst thing? The fourth option. You can't eliminate that. No one's marking a T. Let's first understand how are we supposed to address such questions. Such questions certainly appear in LET. To address any of the weakening or strengthening the argument question, we need to know the argument of the passage. If we don't get this, we will never be able to strengthen or weaken the question. So the first step always has to be identifying the argument. Which line is the argument in the whole paragraph? Now people are marking D. Which line is the argument of the paragraph? Explain this to me and then I'll explain the correct answer to you. Some of you certainly got the correct answer. The first line of the paragraph is the main argument, claiming that our laws are irrational. They have no rationality behind them. The whole paragraph talking about criminal law and civil law explains the fact that the author thinks our laws are irrational. The first line is our main argument. Okay? Shiza, I bring them for you, my child. The first line is the argument. Okay? If I prove the laws are irrational, I support my argument. If I prove the laws are not irrational, they are backed up with some reasoning, I weaken my argument. Redo the question. Redo the question. Now what's your answer? Send me your answers again. If I say our laws are irrational, I support the argument. If I say our laws are rational, I weaken my argument. A supports my question. B weakens my question. My correct answer is a B. A says that from moral point of view, a person is as much culpable if his thoughts are evil or if his acts are evil. That's exactly why our laws are irrational, because you punish one and you don't punish the other. This supports the fact that our laws are irrational. Shreya, you got this at the first go. B is our correct answer. B says criminals are more dangerous. So why is your punishment variable? Right? So it justifies why is the punishment variable in criminal law and civil law, because criminals are considered more dangerous than the people who do civil wrongdoings. And that's exactly why criminals are punished more than the civil wrongdoers. So it justifies this discrepancy in punishing under a criminal law and a civil law. It justifies this irrationality. It says, no, the law is rational because a criminal wrongdoing is of a higher degree than a civil wrongdoing. B is our correct answer. Yes, I saw Alifia and Aditi, you got that correct in the first go. C says criminal law seeks to punish criminals while civil law aims at only compensating the victim. If you compensate, then why is no damages paid at all? It doesn't justify that, Hariom. Do you see that discrepancy? Still standing true even if C is true. It doesn't justify the discrepancy. B justifies the discrepancy. That's why C is wrong. Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 12 from the same year as NUJS 2007. Read the last question for the class and send me a done. Very good, Ria. I hope, Idram, you got the explanation for the previous question. That's my job, Ayushman. This kind of question usually Elite gives us. C, B, D, A भी बोल दो कोई. Analogy नहीं है. You see the analogy here, right? You see the analogy between the frying pan making pancakes and the craters on moon. Not A. Analogy is when you compare to unrelated objects. Pancakes to moon, unrelated, you're comparing them. It should be A, right? Sonal, how are you so sure of C? Should it not be A, Ria? Everyone saying C, B, 100% C. Changing the answer. Now people are saying A. Ayushman, you get influenced too quickly, my child. A cannot be the answer. Of course, there is an analogy in the passage. There's an analogy between pancakes and the surface of the moon. But that doesn't determine the origin of craters. My question is not about the strategy used by the author to explain something to you, but how do we determine the origin of craters? Something happened and the effect was the craters, the gas escaping out of the surface, creating bubbles-like structure. Similar thing was explained to you in analogy. But analogy is not the answer because that doesn't explain the origin of lunar craters. The origin is explained by cause and effect relation. The correct answer is a C. Just a minute, guys. Give me a second. So the correct answer is a C. Yeah, a lot of you got that correct in the first go. So that is all for today, everyone. I hope you had a fun learning session with me, and I am going to be, how many correct did you get? Very good. So I bought some other questions, but I'm not going to give you those today. Make sure you leave the session with liking the session, commenting under my video if you think these sessions are beneficial for you. If you keep commenting, that will boost me to bring more such sessions for you. Share the session with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And download our app on Google Play. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a very, very good day. 9 and 12, very good. Work really hard. I shall see you very, very soon. Have a very good day. God bless you.